Hey guys, this is John Zombro with The Lifetime Athlete, and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your first time visiting. Thanks for being here with me today. I am going to be discussing the topic of personalizing your training, and this is one of our masterclass topics here at The Lifetime Athlete, and I wanted to share some things on this video that you may find useful in getting more out of your athletic and fitness endeavors. The very first thing that we want to think about is knowing our strengths. So if you know your strengths or assets, you can then realistically assess your performance capabilities. And there are 5 categories that we want to examine. There's strength, speed, power, agility, and endurance. And those things are fairly self-explanatory, but if I was to give it a bit of fleshing out, strength is obviously your 1 repetition maximum or measures that approximate that. Speed is maximum velocity. Power is that ability to express force times distance divided by time, and that can be both in terms of aerobic and anaerobic capacities and in more force output. We have agility, which is really a composite of not just flexibility or mobility, but also combined with stability and that magic that we have when we can own the shape and position we put our bodies in and flow through movement. So that's agility. And lastly, we have endurance, which is fatigue resistance, both in terms of a cardiorespiratory fashion and also locally at the muscles. The thing to do is to be kind to yourself, but to honestly rate your strengths using a very simple method. Give yourself a 1 if you feel that your performance or capabilities in any of these categories is poor. Give yourself a 2 if you would assess it to be fair, and a 3 if it is good or even excellent. And this would be a total possible score of 15, although that's even unrealistic for most elite athletes because every human is a bit unique and different. However, one of the things we want to say is for health and for a long-term functioning, lifelong athletic body, we probably want to see a score with a goal of about 11 or 11 points. So the way to have that is to have the 11 scoring 2s in most of the categories. And maybe you have one area where you really do shine, and that would be a 3. That's what we want for health. Anytime we have 1s, which is a poor situation, we probably want to shore that up a bit. And then for performance, obviously, we're going to add a 3 in there, or perhaps several, so that would be a score 12 or above. And that's just a simple little system that I like to use with my clients to help them figure out where their strengths lie. Most people will know this just living in their bodies and knowing the successes they've had in different activities or sports over the life. However, I can always help them, and I think this provides a very reasonable metric to utilize. Now, when we move beyond knowing our strengths, we now want to recognize our weaknesses. So the weaknesses would be anything that we scored a 1 on, and we have to ask ourselves this question: does it impact our health? That may be a concern, and of course we may want to address that appropriately. Also, will it affect performance in your given sport or goal? And so, while I don't recommend having poor capacity in any of those areas, let's say if you're on the borderline between poor and fair, but it really may not be impacting your long-term health negatively or your performance in your chosen activity, we may not need to be as concerned about that compared to if it was otherwise. Now, addressing movement dysfunction. We all have asymmetries in our body, but if some of our movement patterns are causing excessive loading, wear and tear, pain, or poor performance, we may want to address those, and that is very important to do. The other thing is we go through this life and sometimes, unfortunately, we do accumulate injuries. So if you have an injury, respect it, obviously, and work with it or work around it in training, as opposed to trying to work through or over it and force an issue. Both of these areas, movement dysfunction and orthopedic workarounds with injury, are the wheelhouse of the physical therapist. So if you think you have any of these issues or know that you do, consider working with a PT to help you solve these problems and again increase your potential for great satisfaction, longevity, and performance. Now, what we want to do finally is prioritize our goal or goals. However, if we can get it down to one primary, most important goal, the big rock, the thing we focus on, we're probably going to have the best outcome. Then we leverage our training or build our program around all of this information so that we can get the most out of our beast with the least effort and the least risk of problems occurring. And both of those things are enhanced by working with a good coach. Now, you can be self-coached if you have a really good feel for a lot of this information, but if you don't, you may want to hire a professional who can help you to get better results and achieve higher marks as you move through your journey. So I hope you felt this information was valuable. Again, this was all about how to personalize your training. There are many ways to examine that topic deeper, but again, I hope that you've got some nuggets or some pearls of wisdom that you can utilize. Thank you for being with me today, and have a great day.